So recently, I've been trying to catch up on season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen, and I could say that while I was watching it, I kept thinking to myself, like, yo, when is I'm gonna do a collaboration with this anime? For the longest time, me and my friend were hoping for this crossover to be a real thing. I don't know. I feel like it'll be cool to see this crossover happen, considering how I think this anime has a lot of potential within the setting, which led to me making this video here. I thought it would be an interesting idea to imagine what an Identity 5 and Jujutsu Kaisen crossover would be like. Just a disclaimer here that this crossover is not confirmed or anything, like there's no news about it. This is simply just me doing a fun little prediction video in cases where if this crossover were to happen, what characters that I think would be chosen for this event. Before I get into talking about the characters, I'll just do like a quick summary of what Jujutsu Kaisen is about, and I want to point out and warn that this may include small spoilers about the show, mostly for people who haven't seen it yet. For those who may not be familiar with the series, Jujutsu Kaisen takes place in modern day Japan. All living beings radiate cursed energy, which is built upon negative emotions of people. Since normal people can't control this energy, this basically stacks up and creates curses. Curses can range from monsters or spiritual beings, but basically they wish to bring harm to humanity. Jujutsu sorcerers are people who can control their cursed energy, in which they develop techniques to fend off against these curses. Now, the story follows along with a boy named Yuji Todori, who was born by a Jujutsu sorcerer that his occult club friends have a talisman that can attract curses to the school. This talisman is a finger belonging to the king of curses, Ryomen Sukuna, who is known to be an evil sorcerer that is very powerful but also very dangerous. When faced with danger and eager to protect those around him, Yuji ate the finger in hopes of receiving its power. This actually caused Sukuna to live inside of him and share his body. Since he has an evil curse inside of him, he has been sentenced to death. However, he has been given the option that this could be postponed until he has consumed all of Sukuna's 20 fingers in order to successfully eliminate him. Yuji then goes on this journey of trying to become a Jujutsu sorcerer, mastering his cursed energy, exercising curses with his fellow classmates, all while finding and consuming Sukuna's fingers along the way. Yeah, that's generally how the story goes. I recommend watching this if you haven't already, as the story kind of gets intense later on. With that out of the way, let's move on to the predictions. Typically, if this were an Essence crossover, they'll normally choose 4 characters, and I think that in Jujutsu Kaisen's case, the main 4 characters there will definitely be the ones chosen here, that being Yuji Itadori, Megumi Fushiguro, Nobara Kukisaki, and of course Satoru Gojo. Starting off with Yuji, it's been brought out and established that his physical speed and strength is like a lot faster and stronger than normal people, which makes me think that he's going to be mercenary or forward. I feel like for Megumi, there's like many ways to go about this. Initially, I was thinking of Postman because he has a dog, which that could be like Megumi's divine demon dog. This also applies to Seer because Megumi can also summon Nue, which is a bird. If we're going off by physical prowess, I think like depending on who Yuji is, if he's either like mercenary or forward, I feel like Megumi might just end up as the other one. I don't know why, but I also thought of Prospector for him. Like, there's no reason, but it's mostly just for the vibes. As for Nobara, I think Enchantress really suits her, or I guess Coronary could work too. I think Enchantress' skull or Coronary's gun could be like Nobara's straw doll or hammer and nail, which kind of ties in with her straw doll technique. Okay, moving on to Gojo, I feel like the first character that comes to everyone's mind when they see him is Seer, mostly because of his blindfold and how he can see the hunter's location from such a far distance, kind of like Gojo's 6 Eyes ability. My only doubt for Gojo being Seer is that, like, I don't know how they're gonna implement the bird mechanic for him. Like, are they gonna give Gojo a random bird or something? I'm not sure. But I also thought of Prospector for him because Prospector holds magnets with positive and like negative charge, and it just reminded me of Gojo's curse technique of lapse blue and reversal red. He's also pretty intelligent, which I guess he could be prisoner too. His electric shock can be purple, which, you know, could represent Gojo's hollow purple. Okay, now that we talked about the main cast and what characters will play as them, I kind of want to talk about the rarity of these skins. When it comes to the S tier costume, I feel like either Yuji or Gojo will most likely get it. I'm mostly leaning towards Yuji, but I won't be surprised if Gojo is the one who ends up having the S tier costume. For Yuji's case, since Sukuna is sharing his body, I feel like whenever Yuji uses his skill or something, like imagine if he's like mercenary or forward, and when he dashes, he'll briefly turn into Sukuna and have like his markings on his face. This is similar to Hajime from the Danganronpa 2 crossover, where he briefly turns into Izuru Kamakura when he's in magnet throwing position. If Gojo is the S tier, I think a similar thing will be applied to him too. In the show, he mostly has his blindfold on, but there are a few instances where he has them off or is shown wearing sunglasses instead. So I was thinking that his default would have him wear the blindfold and like when he uses his skill or when all ciphers have been decoded or something along those lines, he'll have them off, or maybe his mom will be wearing sunglasses. Unless he can have like a sunglasses accessory that you can pull in the essence. Kind of like Barmaid's Vermouth costume from the Detective Conan crossover. Alright, now I feel like I want to talk about some extra characters who I think will most likely get skins if one of the main four isn't chosen. This is very unlikely, but I feel like if this crossover has a part 2, or you can buy one from the shop, or even you can get them for free by doing the crossover quests, I think these characters have a strong potential for getting skins. I'm not going to be super in-depth in explaining these characters, so I'm just kind of speedrun this. Starting off with Maki Zenying, you already know that Antiquarian's gonna be here, like, there's no questioning it. I guess Mindside could work too, but Antiquarian fits her so well. For Toge Inumaki, I think it's a similar case with Gojo, where I think most people's first instinct or first choice for him would be Embalmer, just because he has, like, the mask thing going on. Panda might be Guard 26. I don't know. I always feel like Guard 26 is like the default choice for mascot related characters. Or maybe Evil Reptilian because he can leap, and just imagine this huge panda coming over and leaping at you. For Yuta Okatsu, I'm thinking maybe Batter and like his bat could be replaced with his katana instead. I don't know. Kento Nanmi seems like he'll be Lawyer, though I could also kind of see Professor for him as well. If they're planning to go with villains here, I'm thinking Mahito and Suguru Geto are both good choices. For Mahito, he's giving like acrobat vibes to me for some reason. And I guess Explorer, considering how he can shrink his size, while Mahito can manipulate and reshape his body in many different ways if he chooses to do so. For Geto, I'll be real when I say that I genuinely do not know what characters would suit him. I mean, like, he can absorb and control curses, which made me think of Seer, where the bird can be a curse or something. I thought of First Officer and Professor too, but, like, I'm still not really sure on that. I also had the thought of him and Gojo being hunters too, like, given their height compared to everyone. Or, like, at one point I thought Gojo could possibly be Ripper or Hermit, and Geto could be, like, Wu-Chang, Night Watch, or Nightmare. But this idea is something that, like, I'm not quite confident in. Okay, this is not a serious idea. I just noticed this when I was looking these characters up. But can y'all imagine Toji Fushiguro as wax artist? Or even Fool's Gold in that matter? Like, I'm just gonna leave that there. Anyway, this brings my prediction for Jujutsu Kaisen crossover. Of course, the characters that I've chosen to talk about here are mostly based on those like attending Tokyo Jujutsu High, so let me know if you agree with my choices here. If you're thinking of another idea for a character, I'd be really curious to hear about them. Or you can simply list like other ideas for other characters that I didn't mention in this video, like I guess people from Kyoto Jujutsu High. Those will be interesting to hear as well. Yeah, as of the time I'm recording this, I'm just like talking about the characters who are currently playable at the moment. Who knows if Identity 5 will release like new survivors or hunters that will be much more suitable to these characters. But yeah, thanks for watching this video, and fingers crossed for an Identity 5 and Jujutsu Kaisen collaboration sometime in the future.